Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Duane, and I want to talk a little bit about perspective and how we get caught up focusing on the negative as opposed to the positive when we're going through this. Now, it makes absolute sense because there's a lot of negative in this. I mean, that is true. And when we're going through this and our world is just falling apart around us, it makes it really tough to see any positive. And I think that one of the things that you have to start trying to make a change on is reframing how you see everything. One thing I've noticed in my life is the more I worry about something, the more that type of stuff happens. If I think things are going to go bad, it's like things go bad. If I relax on things, if I relax on things, things seem to go better. Now, I'm not saying that, if I think everything is great, that everything turns out great, but it sets your mind on a different path. When you're letting things bother you, you get tense, you get stressed, you get really focused on whatever is happening. And conversely, whenever you start to let some of that stuff go and you're just kind of enjoying the environment, it really changes. Like for instance, for right now, I'm sitting here, it's a beautiful morning, there's an airplane, it's kind of annoying, but whatever, at least it's not a jet. It's nice little breeze, hopefully it's not making the microphone sound really weird. And it's just, it's like relaxing. And I know for me, it was really hard in the beginning parts of this to even take a pause to see something pretty or to see something beautiful or to see something positive. And I think it's really underrated how important that really is to our own mental health, to our own stability in all of this. Now, maybe I have the benefit that I generally am a positive person. I like things to be stress-free. I like things to be calm. So maybe I'm just geared more to think along those lines. Now, I'll tell you, after a 20-some-odd year marriage of being around this and then growing up around just chaos and toxicity all the time, it's really tough to kind of deprogram that from you and start to flip your life around in the direction that you want to go. But I think it's really important that you take a pause to do that because it really changes the direction. Now, I get that this is tough. I get it. Because in the midst of this, those first 3 years, those dark days that I talk about, there wasn't a lot of joy to be found. There wasn't a lot of happiness. I wasn't sitting around, enjoying the environment or enjoying just nature, if you can call this nature. But that's what we have to get back to. That's what you have to start focusing your attention on to find things that you can enjoy in life. And you can't constantly be looking at everything that you've lost or what's been taken away or how your future and your present has changed drastically from what you ever considered. I mean, at some point you have to take a step back and just say, okay, all right, this is my new life. What did I want to do before? More planes. One of the big things I think that happens is we get so caught up in just the lather, rinse, and repeat of the relationship and the environment that we're in. You get comfortable in the chaos and you just make your peace with it. Although this situation is very difficult, one of the benefits is it breaks that cycle. It breaks that pattern of just doing the same thing over and over and over again. One of the benefits is that we get to decide what direction we want to go in. Now, the problem with that is that a lot of the times we're like, well, I want to go this way. Damn it, this is the direction I wanted to go. I don't want to go that way. I want to go this way. I fell into that. It's like you had your vision of how life was going to be, of where you were going to go and what you were supposed to do and how it was supposed to play out, and that's all been obliterated. And you're kind of still fixated on going down that path. So one of the things I find really interesting about this is it really gives you an opportunity to do a reset on your life. I mean, to be perfectly honest, if it wasn't for the fact of child support and alimony and all that stuff, I think I probably would have found a way to leave my current job to do something different, because this isn't exactly the direction I want to go anymore. Now, I was good with it. I was good with it in the past. Whenever that was my vision, I was like, okay, I'll work here forever. I'll save for retirement. At 57, I'll be able to punch out, maybe 59. And, that's all been obliterated. So now it's like, okay, so what do I want to do now? I mean, it's like this whole thing with this YouTube channel. I would have never in a million years even considered doing something as crazy as this. Like the idea that I'm sitting here talking to a camera right now, I hate being on camera. I don't like having my picture taken, at least I used to. And the fact that I'm doing this, and I love it. I love doing this whole thing. I love interacting with you guys. I love the whole part of it. It's like, that wasn't even a possibility in my mind in my past life. And when I'm talking about my past life, as in like when I was married and in this whole other thing. And I wasn't happy. That's the other thing. I was not finding any joy. I mean, I would try to eke out and find a little bit of joy every once in a while, but holy hell, it was just this chaotic mess. I'm sure you can relate to that because you've been in that situation too. The sad part is that when you're in the midst, or once it's over, when you're in the midst of this discard and separation and all that stuff, you're so longing for something that we shouldn't even long for. You're longing for a reality that wasn't really good. It wasn't healthy for us. It wasn't taking us in a direction. It's kind of like it was just grabbing onto us and holding us down and keeping us from experiencing life. Now, I understand whenever you start looking at your life and you're like, hey, Duane, yeah, okay, that's really great. That's awesome, but I've been devastated. I have no money. I don't barely get to see my kids. My reputation's been smeared. How in the world do you recover from that? The way you recover from it is you realize that all of that crap is holding you back. All of those emotions and feelings are holding you to that life that you need to let go of so that you can start experiencing a new one. And I know that may be one of those things when I say that just kind of makes you cringe. It kind of gives you a little PTSD. Maybe it makes your chest tighten a little bit because you're like, no, that's exactly what I wanted. That's the way it's supposed to be, And since that's been destroyed, I want to make that person pay. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. Every moment that we waste, every time that we focus on the X, we are focusing on keeping ourselves attached to that past. Once you can let it go, and I feel very weird about saying let it go because I know a lot of people say that, but what it is you get to the point where you realize, holy crap, I am connecting myself to this other toxic person. I'm connecting myself to this past that there's nothing good for me anymore with it. So you can choose to do that. Hey, I did it for 3 years, maybe a little bit more. I was fixated on that. I mean, even in my early part of my relationship with Debbie, guys, we spent so much time talking about the ex, talking about what she was doing, what might happen. Well, you know what? When I started this channel 3 years ago, one of the conversations that Debbie and I had, she's like, "Oh my God, don't do this channel because what will she do whenever she finds out?" You get to the point where you're like, you know what? Screw it. I don't care. Do whatever the hell you want. I'm going to live my life right now. I'm going to start having joy right now. I choose today to pick the pieces up and start over and start living and start enjoying life and start trying to detach myself from that chaos and that muck that has nothing for us. And I know that can be a scary feeling. You get so used to the situation, you get so used to that relationship, and the idea of letting it go, releasing it, seems like, oh, I can't do that. And like I just mentioned, there's a whole laundry list of reasons you could do it. You could say, well, you could say that you can't let it go because you're letting them get away with anything. You're not. You're giving your life back. That's what you're doing. When you finally sit down and say, okay, this person was toxic for me, Yes, I missed the illusion, but all of this was not good. And you can start focusing on basically rebuilding your life. That's when things start to get better. That's when you start to find joy again. That's when the crap that they're doing, and it doesn't matter. It could be your ex, it could be your family, it could be your narcissistic mom, your narcissistic dad, cousins, brothers, whatever the hell it is. When you finally say, you know what? I've had enough of that. I'm not doing this anymore. I only have so much time on this planet. Do I want to waste and risk devoting more time to that instead of finding something that I want to do, finding people I want to be around, finding things that make me happy? Now, I get that it's not, you just can't go, well, I've decided I'm going to be happy. I get that that's not completely how it works, because life still happens, things still happen, That's true. But we can choose how we're going to interact with it. We can choose how it's going to affect us, and we get to choose who we allow into our environment, who we allow into our lives. And we can decide, no, it's not you. You are not going to occupy a physical space in my life, and you're not going to occupy a space in my mind either. The really funny part, I don't know if you can hear me, is in the morning, whenever I have some meetings and stuff, it's pretty quiet. It'd be like a perfect time to record. And then when I finally get a little break, kind of like to do my little lunch break, it's like everything takes off outside. I mean, I know that's just the nature of the beast, but holy hell. It's like I get to talk for a couple minutes and then have to stop and lose my train of thought. Pretty funny.